Okay, so welcome to the first ever Sandwich Muffin Gaming Fight Club Platinum League Championship, I guess we'll call it. I am SMG Dust, and I'm going to make a very feeble attempt to cast our first ever Fight Club game by myself. We're looking at two Platinum League players. One is SMGLukeG, a Terran, and SMGJtek. Jtek is our Zerg. So yep, this is game one in a best of 7. Very exciting. And just waiting for the loading bar to finish, and we're off. So I guess with no further ado, we'll introduce the players, starting with our Zerg in the top left corner of Entombed Valley. We have SMGJtek. And our Terran player in the bottom right corner, the one, the only, the very well-mannered LukeG. Both players being very kind to each other off the start, wishing each other a happy new year. I'm kind of interested to see how this whole series turns out. Luke chose to prepare. Actually, I think both players chose to prepare for this the night before by not playing. Luke, has been known for some fairly unorthodox builds over the last little while, so it's really hard to know what to expect from him. Jtek dabbles between races and can't seem to make a decision on what he likes best. He's easily bored. But I think he mains Zerg and he does it quite well. So yeah, should be a good game. Luke putting down the 13 racks. Very strange. Must just be a mistake from waking up so early. And walling in as soon as humanly possible. Jtek on the other hand with a hatch first at 14 supply, actually 15, sorry. And Overlord's just scouting around for any signs of cheese, which is always a good idea against Luke. Now I believe GSL Entombed is cross-spawn only. Luke's scouting the either corner first, I guess he doesn't really know. Go cross-spawn. I'm going to just apologize in advance for my very awkward grammar and low quality casting overall. The plan is this isn't being live streamed, but we're going to be uploading it to our YouTube channel shortly after the conclusion of the series. So at some point Jtek has put down a spawning pool. I can only assume that was around 15 as well. And the extractor goes down shortly after, likely for some lane speed. We have Luke over here grabbing a command center. Or his orbital, sorry, and throwing down a second command center. So this is a little different from him, as I'm not so used to seeing the one rack's gasless fast expand. He tends to grab 2 gas and go nuts right off the very start of the game, so it looks like both players are opting for a bit more of a macro style. Engineering bay going down. That's a little different. I would more expect to see 2 barracks coming down quicker. This is a little bit unorthodox. I shouldn't be surprised at this point, I think. Perhaps he's going for an early, one attack push maybe, although for some reason I've seen him actually go for armor upgrades before weapons. Can't say I'm entirely sure the reasoning behind that, but we'll see what happens. So far no upgrades have been started due to the lack of gas. Spine crawler going down at Jtek's natural. So being safe, I assume that he's aware of Luke's general playstyle and is expecting some kind of early aggression, especially since seeing the Marines out in the middle of the map. 2 gas going down, 4 gas actually going down, 2 at the natural, 2 at the main. Not really sure what this is going to indicate. Perhaps some upgraded bio play by the look of it. There's actually still no upgrades started, no turret, so I don't really see the reason for the engineering baby size just to waste a little bit of money. Perhaps I'll have to ask him about that because it's pissing me off. And meanwhile, we have a roach warren and a baneling nest going down, so we could see some super heavy roach ling bling, which I've had a significant amount of trouble with over the last little while. It can be actually quite devastating to a bio player who doesn't wall in and doesn't bunker down, as we're actually seeing here. And of course, just as I say that, it looks like there's going to be a supply depot going down at the ramp to the natural. Ling's speed is out now, and Jtek is breaking the rocks down to probably take a third sooner rather than later, and diving right into layer tech. He's still opting for the one single gas, so I don't know how many roaches we'll actually see on the field. You know, between that and getting banelings, you know, could be a little strapped for cash there. And now that I say that, we have 1, 2, 3 extractors going down. Very good. So Luke with just 4 Marines on the field, and unfortunately this, in my opinion, this type of build's a little bit dangerous because you could just easily have had a huge swarm of banelings and zerglings come in at any point throughout the game and kind of make your life a living hell. And again, a very unorthodox planetary fortress at the natural, not being quite as concerned with the economy, even though he's going for mass upgrades. And actually, wow, double starport. So I'm going to just refrain from making any sort of predictions as to the direction of this particular build, and just kind of wait it out and see what happens. 3 Marines in the center. It looks like they're about to be devoured by some roaches and zerglings, and just as I say that, Jtek actually pulls the roaches back. I guess he wants Luke to kind of be surprised by their presence, perhaps. Factory floating around now, so I guess we're gonna see, I don't know here, we could see some banshees, we could see some mass ravens, which he's actually been known to do, so that's a little different. Checking the units tab, 37 workers for Luke, 33 workers for Jtek, and both players having about an equally sized army, 8 roaches, 6 lings for Jtek, and 19 Marines for Luke. 19 Marines which are still unupgraded at 10 minutes into the game. Jtek grabbing a third and has a little bit of creep spread started. On to layer tech now, but actually no buildings for that. I'm not sure what's going on with the layer tech at this point. I can only assume that Luke's probably going with some kind of, wow, 2 ravens, and this is, well, at least the tech labs are going to be scouted by that overseer, so Jtek knows something very strange is happening, having seen the 2 starports, so I'm sure he's going to prepare for that, and we'll likely see less roaches popping out, and possibly more of an anti-air kind of reaction. Luke's still on 2 bases. Seems to have stopped at 1-0 upgrades, and 2 ravens popping out, and actually has 4 more on the way. I'm sure Jtek was more expecting, and he actually sees the ravens, I think, with this overseer. As a Zerg player, I'd be more likely to expect banshees, so this could be a very unorthodox mass raven style. Luke's been known to do that in some of the Zeke tournaments and has actually had a fair amount of success with it. So should be interesting to see the way this plays out. This is definitely a different play style. I wonder if this is premeditated or if he's just kind of going on a whim here. I'm not so sure. He doesn't have the energy research, so there's going to be enough for seeker missiles as well as a good number of turrets. Not sure how effective this is going to be. These Marines are going to get cleaned up in about 2 seconds flat, leaving the Ravens out to fend for themselves. Thankfully, not too much air tech or anti-air for Jtek. Hydralisk Den going up now, so that's going to change relatively soon. And, you know, a good number of queens sitting at the natural. Infestation pit going down, so I assume he's going to be trying to fungal and then finish those off with any kind of hydras. But Luke's actually committed so much to getting all these ravens out that he has little to no defense here aside from the planetary fortress, and he could actually be in a lot of trouble with this massive push coming in from Jtek. Baneling's morphing and the Roach is just pushing right in. Baneling's getting a little caught up, but they're making their way through and making some contact on the Marines. Luke now mass repairing the planetary fortress, and Jtek is just going to walk right past that as the supply depot is just down, so the fail wall is actually probably going to cause Luke to lose this game. Luke had no bunkers, naked Marines, and a relatively small ground force to deal with a massive Roachling Bling. I don't know what he's going to do. He's basically has a planetary fortress to deal with this. Third command center down, but I think he probably forgot about that at this point. The orbital command at the main is now flying away, and he just has one mining base at this planetary. There's going to be, you know, no scans, no mules, but mass ravens. I'm not really sure how this is going to pan out. Are the ravens going to be able to deal with this ground force? There could be some auto turrets going down or some seeker missiles here. Yep, there's the seeker missiles firing, and they make contact but killing 0 roaches. He's going to have to fire those off a lot quicker. He's in a lot of trouble actually with Jtek at 107 supply versus 57 for Luke now. And I think the longer this continues, the more Jtek's just going to pull ahead. He's now on 3 bases and, you know, could safely grab a 4th looking at his bank and the amount of pressure and damage that he's just done. So we have lots of SCVs just doing nothing except repairing themselves. Really a whole lot of mining being denied here. Turrets down and seeker missiles going off, but the roaches, you know, are pretty tough. They can survive a nuclear holocaust. So, you know, what's a seeker missile to a roach, really? I think Luke's going to have to fire off about, you know, 3 or 4 more of those to get rid of this small ground army. And judging from the amount of minerals he has, Jtek could simply, you know, make a ton of lings in addition to these hydras and just flood in for the win. This really is looking bad from Luke, especially with the amount of Raven energy he's actually wasting on these auto turrets that are just completely out of position. So we have a planetary fortress here with no one mining, a command center, and now he's going with a mass bio, but I think it's too little too late. Jtek should just realize, I think, at any point here that he can move in and make the death blow. Luke's in a terrible position now, falling further and further behind on supply. Now the lings are blasting out. Let's check the production tab here. Slow hydras on the move. Luke is making, you know, 2 ravens and 2 marauders, whereas Jtek's researching burrow, burrowed roach movement, going up to hive tech and just kind of containing Luke on a very low number of bases at this point. Luke's got a very saturated 3rd and a very undersaturated natural, and the lings are moving in now, roaches as well, and I don't see Luke being able to deal with this with such a small amount of Marines. The auto turrets are still up and will be for quite some time, as I think Luke's researched that upgrade. Lots of marauders out at this point, but those are only going to last for so long, considering Jtek is teching up to hive, and we should see some broodlords pretty soon. If we even make it that far, the lings and roaches are actually cleaning up quite nicely, and once these SCVs are gone, I don't see Luke recovering from this in the slightest. More auto turrets going down, but those are dropping quickly. Hydra's in the mix now, and this looks like it could be 0-1 for Luke. Lifts his command center, but Hydras are there to deal with that. They're dealing out a lot of DPS, and that's going to go down. Luke has an orbital with 5 SCVs queued up, and I guess he's going to try and fight his way through this, but I don't see how he expects to do anything. So in game 1, that Mass Raven, which was, I think, meant to take Jtek way off guard, was a strategy that took a little too long, and Jtek was able to exploit that with you know, a massive push off the start that did enough damage to kind of end the game for Luke before it was actually over. Luke's been trying to stay in it now for the past 5 or 10 minutes, but I don't see any way that's going to happen. I don't even think this planetary fortress is going to be able to stand up to this. Luke now lifting off, but you know, our unit count is 45 drones to 11 SCVs and dropping. There are 10 Ravens on the field, and wow, how did I miss this? Probably should keep an eye on the minimap from now on. Auto turrets have taken out Jtek's third and are doing a lot of damage to his main. And wow, this is kind of incredible. I'm not sure how long it's gonna hold out for, but wow. I was basically just waiting for the GG, and Luke's actually doing quite a bit of damage with these 10 Ravens. Jtek's had his whole army invested in this attack that, you know, maybe he didn't even notice it either. I am shocked. Auto turrets firing on the hive, and you know, if Jtek doesn't get his army back here, that hive is gonna fall. Spawning pool, roach warren, infestation pit going down at what would be Jtek's fourth, but is now, I guess, his third. Luke trying to rebuild his army, hiding behind these rocks on the high ground. Little group of roaches just protecting from some kind of expansion. Oh, and the Ravens have been taken down by the Hydras, again due to my horrible casting and game awareness. I missed that, I apologize. I'm a noob to this. I'm not very good at talking and doing other things. So I'll check the units tab, and yep, we're down from 10 Ravens to 1, unfortunately. Luke trying to rebuild. Jtek on 1, 2, 3, 4 bases now. I'm sure he's going to, through the process of elimination, discover this hidden base quite shortly. Luke on 15 supply to Jtek's 121. Roaches and Hydras just looking around the map for a possible hidden base. So this has been quite an interesting game anyway. I feel like Luke should have taken more of a standard approach to this, but maybe he was looking to play some mind games. And these mutas are going to easily discover this in no time. And, you know, if he just pushes to the right a little bit now, this game will be over and we'll be able to move on to the second game. So we're just waiting on that to happen. And the mutas are poking around now. They're on their way. And they seem to be flying right past these rocks and back into where Luke's main and natural were. We're going to see that there's not much happening there. And so far, Luke's base is undiscovered. Looking at Jtek's vision, he has no idea that there's anything there. A couple auto turrets down, dealing with the larva. And, oh, and here we go. This is going to be the end for Luke. Delayed a little bit by the presence of these refineries, but Jtek is about to see this and unfortunately end the game for our Terran friend. And there it is. Seeker missiles. Oh my. Too little too late at this point though. And that's GG. So Jtek taking a 1-0 lead in this particular series.